So it is Friday, October the 18th in the year 2024. It's just around 14 minutes after 4, 67 degrees, lots of sunshine, a cold temperature that we know will definitely be dropping later on tonight. Let me get straight into this. So I must admit this scandal that is brewing in the Ghana police force. I was not following this scandal too closely, I must admit, because I could remember saying to myself the first time I saw it in the news, I said to myself, okay, these guys are close to the incumbent government and the matter is going to be eventually swept under the carpet. And then what reinforced my view, I started a couple of days ago watching the Paul Slow Clinton Conway show. They have a YouTube show there from Monday to Friday. As most of you would know, Paul Slow and Clinton Conway are two senior retired policemen from the Ghana Police Force. And those guys know a lot of, in terms of protocols and regulations and whatnot in connection with the Ghana Police Force. So us outsiders, we can just listen to them and as they give the expertise. And what I took away from that show is that the matter with Brutus would eventually be swept under the carpet. However, on listening to the Vice President's press conference yesterday, my view of that started to change because there were already information circulating on the internet. I saw Selvin Peters posting on his page an affidavit from the police commissioner. But I thought that the vice president made it clear that the state is going to take the gloves off because Brutus is looking to take the attorney general, the minister of home affairs, and other officials to court to get redress in the high court. And listening to the vice president's press conference, it looks as though the government intends to take the gloves off. I just want to read in today's Starbuck News. This is a title that I saw. Calvin Brutus barred by court from leaving the country. Justice Gino Prasad this morning barred embattled Assistant Police Commissioner Calvin Brutus from leaving Guyana, even as the state revealed that there are over 240 charges pending against him. Brutus, through his attorneys, asked the court to leave Guyana to accompany his pregnant wife to the United States for urgent medical attention. However, Justice Prasad refused the application based on the fact that the lawman is facing impending charges. He had questioned the attorney as to why Brutus' wife cannot be treated in Guyana, but he had countered that there should be no imposition on where medical treatment is sought. Brutus was in court and he told the court that at no point has the police force attempted to arrest him, even though he is the neighbor of head of the Special Organized Crime Unit SOCO, Fazal Karimbash. Brutus this week moved to the court against the Attorney General, the Acting Commissioner of Police, and others, arguing that he was being victimized and denied services, including a restriction on his accounts. An application lodged for Brutus also alleged that the cabinet had a role in him being sent on leave and recounted an appearance in court where he was threatened with a wanted bulletin if he did not show up at SOCO, which spearheaded the investigation. The affidavit also accused senior government officials of interference in the matter. Brutus is seeking a number of declarations from the court, including that the acting commissioner of police acted ultra-vires on July the 4th by transferring him from the position of deputy commissioner Jew to political directives and improper administrative procedures. Also being sought by Brutus is a declaration that cabinet acted ultra-vires on July the 11th when it instructed acting commissioner of police Clifton Hickam to send him on annual leave due to allegations of involvement in financial crimes. Brutus is seeking a declaration that the rules of natural justice were violated as he was not afforded a fair opportunity to respond. So you can probably view a copy of the Starbucks News or even the Culture News. If you don't have a copy, you can see those things online. I'll now be playing the video of Cordell Jones of Livewire, asking the Vice President about the saga of a police officer trying to deposit X amount of monies into an account, and another senior police officer telling him it's okay. You can listen to an excerpt of this.
Thank you.
Dr. Jagdeo, good day. Cordell Jones from Livewire News. There's been a lot of public consternation over large bank deposits being made by a senior police officer, with reports that another senior officer justified this in an affidavit. Is the government concerned about these developments?
So let me make it clear that there is no attempt to discriminate against anyone. I've seen recently a slew of social media people who are linked to the opposition, particularly the extreme ones, attempting to portray this issue as a race issue. But that's predictable. Let me make it clear what our policies are. We support the police force. We support the leadership of the police force. We support them to do their work, but they must comply with the laws of this country. The PPP will not tolerate corruption in the police force or anywhere else. And when we find corruption in the police force or anywhere else, there will be no attempt to cover it up. So if you believe that you have a special relationship with the government and that we will, pursuant to that relationship, cover up your misdeeds, you have it wrong. You don't know the PPP. When this matter surfaced, the opposition was saying that these individuals, or this particular individual, was linked to the government of Guyana. And they did not trust that there will be an impartial investigation. The AFC and the PNC called for external body to investigate because they believe that there will be a cover-up. We made it clear at that time that the investigations would be professional and there would be no interference from the executive to steer the investigation either way, and that the chips may fall where they may. I said those words. In the investigations, the impartial investigation, done by an arm of the police force, there is a recommendation that went to the DPP to lay multiple charges against the individual for breaches of the law. I see the particular individual now filing a constitutional motion claiming that somehow the executive, the same executive, that the PPP or the executive, is influencing the course of the investigation. APNU was saying something different. They were saying, we will help this individual. We'll cover up what he was doing. He is now saying, we are influencing it to lay charges against him. We have no interest whatsoever in that. But if you did illegal things, you will face the consequences. And from all that I've read, that a lot of wrong things took place. A lot of illegalities took place. And so we will respond to the constitutional motion in court. And since some charges were made, trust me, our affidavit to respond to those charges may not be beneficial to the particular individual, because we will go into great details about what our findings were in the procurement system. And so when he was heading the administration of the police force. So further, I don't want to say anything on the matter. And let me also make it clear here today that this government never sanctioned a policy where private individuals and businessmen could pay for the birthdays and weddings of policemen or other public officials. In fact, we think it's reprehensible. It's reprehensible. So that's all I'm going to say for today, for now, because these are legal matters and they're before the court.
So, like I said, I am going to be playing an excerpt from the PNC's 34 minutes press conference this morning with Opposition Leader Aubrey Norton and his financial advisor Elson Lowe. You know, politics is like a chess game. Early on, you were getting the impression that the opposition was saying that Calvin Brutus would be shielded. The matter would be swept under the carpet, as they say. But now that Brutus decided to take up the battle to the state, it's a different ball game. And that's why I said politics in certain segments resembles a chess battle. I could remember as a teenager back in Guyana asking my uncle to send a drafts set. Well, over here they don't call it drafts, they would call it checkers. And he'd eventually send this draft set, but it was with some strange looking pieces. So I had to get my friend who was attending Queen's College, and he was in the sixth form. And he came by my home there in Queenstown and he said, man, Greeny, this is chess. These are chess pieces. And that is where I learned to play the game of chess through my upper sixth form friend. So what you see playing out here is like a game of chess. But I see the vice presidents are already saying that Brutus may have miscalculated, because the main fact that you're going to try to take the attorney general, the minister, the police commissioner, that's not going to be taken too lightly. Anyhow, the PNC promises the nation, if it gets into power, $100,000 every year. And also they promise to overlook other regulatory bodies and that kind of stuff. It's just a brief excerpt I'll be playing of the opposition leader.
That we in the PNCRA, PNU, as the next government, will conceptualize, manage, and pay out large lump sum cash transfer as a good governance dividend. What do we mean by this? When in government, the money saved from reducing corruption, financial incompetence, negligence, and pure recklessness inherited from the PPP will be distributed every year to Guyanese citizens. A good governance dividend will also include income from our prudent financial investment and economic development strategy. We anticipate that $100,000 at minimum could be distributed each year to most or all citizens. Let us be clear, this is not a one-off measure. This is a recurring yearly payout to citizens. This is not a knee-jerk or sporadic measure. This is a calculated financial exercise to ensure Guyanese can benefit as much as possible from our oil revenues. Our governance dividend will be funded from several sources, including one, a reduction.
One more question.
Sure, you can go ahead.
And this has to do with the ability of the opposition to monitor the distribution of cash grants. You spoke about what happened during the COVID cash grant when people were denied. Are you in a position to be, well, I don't want to say proactive, but to be active if there's a similar occurrence this time around?
The last time around, we were proactive. That was why we were able to see how many people had pink slip and couldn't receive anything. I recall personally being involved in going into Cummins Lodge to confirm that they give the whole street, and the one African Guyanese in there, they give nothing to. But like I said, we pointed out the need for the use of the government structure and the use of checks. It is very difficult to monitor if you're giving people a bag of money and then they share the money whenever they like. There is no time, say between 8 and 4. They can go in the night to some household, allegedly, and share it. So the government creates an ad hoc approach. And that ad hoc approach, a lot of time, prevents you from monitoring it in the way that it should be monitored. So if they continue to go down that road, you will be able to monitor, but you will never get an accurate account of the level of corruption and the amount of people that didn't get access to the resources that they should have gotten.
Adam, one of the things that also happened with the COVID-19 cash grant distribution is that some of that discrimination was very much community-based. So I recall going to communities that were friendly to the opposition, and they didn't get the cash grant, or only some people in the front row got, and so on. And people complained bitterly about that. So if there are pockets of that kind of large-scale discrimination, as there was last time, that is something, of course, that we would highlight in order to ensure the Guyanese benefit from what they are rightfully entitled to. As Leda mentioned, this ad hoc approach really is not the appropriate way to be dealing with cash transfers, and we believe in a much more structured approach which can eliminate or at least reduce as much as possible corruption, and of course allow us to produce much larger regular cash transfers, as we've said, between $1 and $2 million. That is easily attainable under a more structured system rather than this chaos.
But you also have to remember that the PPP likes chaotic situation because that offers them the opportunity to become involved in illegalities.